So we all know Joe Burrow's had it pretty rough over there in Cincinnati. He had a press conference yesterday, and here's what he had to say.
If I want to keep doing this, I have to have fun doing it. I've been through a lot, and if it's not fun, then what am I doing it for?
Have the Bengals broken Joe Burrow?
You really don't like when your franchise quarterback, who's not yet turned 30, says, if I want to keep doing this. That is, if I'm a Bengal fan, that's a 5-alarm fire. And it is a shocking, it's a shocking enough quote. I thought about leading the show with it, but I feel like you guys, when the Chiefs are down, want to hear my Chiefs pain and cope. So I led with the Chiefs. But Joe Burrow, who, still has, what does he have? 4 years left on his massive deal? 4 years left on his 5-year, $275 million contract. Him talking about, if I want to keep doing this, I would be lying if I did not say it, at least briefly, gave me Andrew Luck vibes of, oh man, has this guy just, his body's been through so much. He was so close so early, and now the team seems to be getting further away, that he's like, I'm not enjoying this.
And also seeing his predecessors continuously, make it to the postseason and battle it out, and he's had to sit out a couple of them. Probably
right.
Takes a toll on the brain.
3 playoffs in a row. And I also think there is the emotional toll of, man, my second year in the league, I have the ball in my hands in the Super Bowl with a chance to go win it after beating Mahomes. My third year in the league, I have the ball in my hands in Arrowhead with a chance to go back to the Super Bowl, tie game, and really vault myself above Patrick. Been in the league 3 years, made back-to-back Super Bowls. You haven't. You've lost to me. And those 2 moments, those 2 drives where his blocking broke down, by the way, on both. He got hit on the final pass of both seasons. In the Chiefs game, it wasn't even a final pass. Chris Jones just sacked him. The Rams game, Aaron Donald gets right to him. But he takes the field in year 2 in the Super Bowl saying, touchdown, I'm a champion forever. He takes the field, year 3 AFC Championship game, field goal, I'm back in the Super Bowl, and I kind of own this Mahomes rivalry. And now we're at the end of year 6, and that was his last playoff touch. That's tough. That's like a really... And then you add to it all of the physical, real weird injuries he's dealt with. Turf toe and the wrist thing, and dealing with the different franchise holdouts and contract disputes every year.
And it's a tragic organization.
Well, yes.
Bengals.
And it is why some people said, do an Elway or an Eli and don't go there. And so, people asking, what would a Joe Burrow trade look like? I mean, as I did on TV yesterday, and, I'll do on radio again, or on podcast today, to quote Mike Meltzer, being in a position where you have to trade prime Joe Burrow is a fold the franchise moment. There is no getting around it. But what would a Joe Burrow trade look like? 3 first and 3 second rounders. Your first, because you're only allowed to trade 3 picks in the league. The Daniel says Myles Garrett and the Browns picks. They would never listen. I don't think they would trade Joe Burrow, but if they were to, they certainly wouldn't do it in the division. Which is a bit of a shame because the Browns have all the picks. Like another team that has, the team that could trade you 4 first-round picks other than the Browns is the Rams because they have 2 picks in this upcoming draft. And that would be a really interesting one if the Rams did bleep them picks again. But that would only make sense if Stafford were retiring after this year. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't roster Stafford and Burrow to be like, hey, Burrow's going to sit a year and then take over. So the timing of that wouldn't work. But if I'm a Bengals fan, I am terrified of that press conference. Terrified of it. And we've seen guys walk away. We haven't. You're way too young to remember this, DeMonte. But and he wasn't quite a star at this point in his career, but so hold on, I'm gonna tell this story in a different way. Once upon a time, wow, I didn't even think about this. Great job, Nick, for putting this together in real time. Once upon a time, there was a number 1 overall pick quarterback who, after 7-8 years in the league, he was not Joe Burrow's level, don't get me wrong. But 1 year, he led the league in touchdown passes, finished top 5 in MVP voting. It was actually his second year, it's probably his high water mark. Went to the playoffs a couple times, had disappointing postseason defeats, and one of the postseasons suffered a catastrophic injury right when the first playoff game started, essentially. That player, right after he turned 30, woke up one morning and said, I'm either retiring or you're trading me, but I am not taking another snap for this franchise. And that number 1 pick quarterback, his name was Carson Palmer. And DeMonte, I'll give you one guess. What franchise do you think he played for?
The Chiefs?
Oh, man, you blew that. That's the worst job you've done in a long time.
Carson Palmer? No. Who did Carson Palmer play for? The Bengals.
I'm talking about Joe Burrow and the dysfunctional Bengals.
No,
and I gave this whole story. So I'm going to let you have another try.
No, it's the Bengals.
What team? The Bengals.
It's
Good
the
job.
Bengals.
I was really trying to set. I know this happened literally when you were a small child, but I thought I gave you enough context.
Yeah, no, and the nature of it. Yeah, 100%.
It was the Bengals, and so the only other guy Joe has not demanded a trade. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he has, but.
Sounds like he's closer to demanding a trade than not demanding a trade at some point.
Or walking away.
Yeah.
So tough spot, man.